What if I told you the battle for your home's air quality doesn't begin with a spray bottle, a scented candle, or a wall plug-in, but with a quiet, relentless lineup of natural defenders, standing guard in plain sight? Imagine walking into your home and feeling that immediate sense of freshness, not because something is covering up the problem, but because the problem itself is being eliminated at the source. No chemicals, no artificial scents, just nature doing what it's always done best. This isn't about masking odors. This is about removing them. Today, we're stepping into a different kind of countdown, one where the stakes are invisible, but the impact is undeniable. 20 indoor plants, 20 natural air purifiers, each one working silently, play after play, filtering the air, neutralizing odors, and changing how your home feels the moment you step inside. Some of these plants are already waiting for you at your local garden center. Others might surprise you with just how powerful they really are. So settle in, because once you understand what these plants can do, you'll never look at your home or your air the same way again. Let's kick things off with number one. Number one, bamboo palm. There's a certain kind of smell that creeps into a home quietly. It settles into corners. It lingers in rooms that don't get much light. A musty, stale presence that never quite goes away, no matter how often you open windows. That's where the bamboo palm steps in. At first glance, it's easy to underestimate this plant. Feathery fronds, a calm, tropical look. But behind that relaxed appearance is a tireless worker. Bamboo palms are known for actively filtering benzene and formaldehyde from indoor air, two chemical compounds that are major contributors to that close-in, chemical smell many homes develop over time. These compounds come from furniture, paints, cleaning products, and even carpets. The bamboo palm doesn't mask those odors. It absorbs them, it processes them, and in return, it releases fresh oxygen back into your space. If you got a basement that never quite smells right, or a room that feels stale no matter what you do, a bamboo palm can change that dynamic entirely. And here's the best part. It's incredibly forgiving. Bright, indirect light. Soil that stays consistently moist. That's it. No complicated routines. No constant monitoring. Just a natural odor fighter working around the clock. And as we move deeper into this list, remember, if you're finding value in learning how these plants quietly transform indoor spaces, make sure you're subscribed. This channel is all about practical, natural solutions that actually work, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. But what if the odors you're dealing with aren't dry and stale, but damp and humid? That brings us to number two. Number two, anthurium. Bathrooms are one of the most challenging environments in any home. Moisture builds up, air circulation drops, and before you know it, that damp, musty smell starts creeping in. This is exactly where the anthurium thrives. Anthuriums love humidity. In fact, they flourish in it. And that's what makes them so effective for odor control in bathrooms and other moisture-heavy spaces. By efficiently processing moisture in the air, anthuriums help prevent that stagnant, clammy environment where mildew and mold odors develop. Instead of letting moisture sit in the air and settle into surfaces, the anthurium keeps things moving. The result? Air that feels lighter, fresher, cleaner. And then there's the visual impact. Those vibrant, heart-shaped flowers don't just exist for decoration. They change how you experience the space. A bathroom that once felt purely functional suddenly feels intentional, pleasant, almost inviting. Care couldn't be simpler. Bright, indirect light, regular watering, and the plant will tell you when it needs attention. Its leaves make that very clear. No guesswork, no stress. Just a quiet solution to one of the most stubborn odor problems in the home. But humidity isn't the only way odors make themselves known. Sometimes, all it takes is a scent so fresh it changes your perception entirely. That leads us to number three. Number three, lemon balm. Crush a lemon balm leaf between your fingers, and you'll understand immediately why this plant has been used for centuries. That citrusy aroma doesn't just smell good. It resets the entire space around it. Lemon balm has a long history of being used to freshen homes naturally. And while its scent is unmistakably pleasant, there's something deeper happening here. The aroma doesn't simply cover bad smells. It shifts how your brain perceives the environment. Spaces feel cleaner, brighter, more open. Even without touching it, just having lemon balm growing nearby creates a subtle but constant freshness, a kind of background note that keeps stale odors from ever taking hold. It's also incredibly low maintenance. Give it sunlight. Don't let it dry out completely. That's all it asks. In return, it gives you a living, breathing air freshener that never runs out. And if you're enjoying this breakdown so far, now's a perfect moment to hit subscribe. We're only getting started. And the plants ahead might completely change how you approach odor control in your home. But what if the smells you're fighting aren't just in the air? What if they're coming from pets? That brings us to number 4. Number 4, citronella. Most people associate citronella with outdoor spaces and bug repellent candles. But bring this plant indoors, and you unlock a completely different advantage. Citronella releases natural oils into the air that actively neutralize organic odors. Pet smells, litter boxes, that unmistakable dog smell that greets you at the door after a long day. Citronella doesn't just overpower those odors. It changes how they register in the air. Place it near your pet's favorite resting spot and let it work. Those scent molecules interact with odor particles, breaking down their intensity and leaving the space noticeably fresher. It needs plenty of sunlight and regular watering indoors, but the payoff is immediate. Instead of reaching for chemical sprays that add more artificial scent to the problem, citronella gives you a natural solution that works continuously. But sometimes, the strongest odors come from the heart of the home, the kitchen. That's where number 5 steps in. Number 5, gardenia. Gardenias are deceptive, delicate blooms, soft petals. But when it comes to odor control, they're absolute heavy hitters. Their fragrance is powerful, sweet floral, and impossible to ignore. And that's exactly why they're so effective. Strong cooking odors, especially from fish, oils, or spices, can linger for days. A blooming gardenia doesn't allow that to happen. Its scent fills the space completely, not masking odors, but dominating the air so thoroughly that nothing else stands a chance. There's also a psychological element here. Gardenia fragrance is widely associated with comfort and elegance. When people walk into a space filled with that scent, the immediate impression is warmth and cleanliness. Even if cooking happened hours earlier, they do require consistent care. Bright light, proper watering, attention. But when those blooms open, the reward is undeniable. This is why gardenias have been prized for centuries as natural home fresheners. But not all odors are strong and obvious. Some are subtle, dry, dusty, and that brings us to number 6. Number 6, Erica palm. That papery, stale smell many homes develop, especially in winter, comes from dry air. Heating systems strip moisture from the environment, allowing dust to circulate freely and odors to concentrate. The Erica palm changes that equation. Through transpiration, it releases moisture back into the air, raising humidity levels just enough to settle dust and disperse odor molecules. The result isn't dampness, it's balance. This is why Erica palms are so common in offices and commercial spaces. They don't just look good, they make the air feel better, smell better, breathe better, bright, indirect light, regular watering. And during the winter months, when indoor air feels dry and stale, this plant becomes essential. But what if you need something with even more targeted, odor-absorbing power? By the time you reach this point on the list, something important becomes clear. Odors don't come from just one source. They're layered, chemical, organic, moisture-driven. And that's why eliminating them requires more than one kind of solution. The plants ahead don't just freshen the air. They target specific odor culprits most homes don't even realize they're dealing with. We continue with a plant that looks purely decorative, but quietly does some of the hardest work indoors. Number 7, chrysanthemum. At first glance, chrysanthemums feel like they belong on a windowsill purely for color. Bright blooms, seasonal charm. But behind those petals is one of the most effective natural air purifiers you can bring into your home. Chrysanthemums are especially powerful at filtering ammonia from indoor air. That sharp, unpleasant smell you recognize instantly, often lingering after cleaning, pet accidents, or exposure to certain building materials. That's ammonia, and it's notoriously difficult to eliminate. NASA studied chrysanthemums and found them to be among the most effective plants for removing indoor air pollutants. That matters because modern homes are filled with invisible chemical sources, cleaners, paints, finishes that contribute to that off smell people can't quite identify. When chrysanthemums are blooming, they're actively processing those compounds. They're not hiding the problem. They're removing it. Care is straightforward. Bright light, water when the soil dries slightly. And while they're in bloom, they're working nonstop to make your home smell cleaner, lighter, and more natural. But what if the odors you're dealing with get worse during dry seasons? That brings us to number 8. Number 8, Boston fern. There's a reason Boston ferns show up everywhere from historic homes to modern office buildings. They're not just decorative, they're functional. During dry months, odor molecules linger longer. They concentrate. They intensify. Boston ferns counteract that by releasing moisture into the air, naturally dispersing and neutralizing smells that would otherwise hang around. Cooking odors, stale room smells, closed-up spaces. The Boston fern doesn't attack these problems directly. It changes the environment so odors can't survive. And then there's the visual effect. Those cascading fronds create an instant sense of freshness. Even before you notice the smell improvement, the space already feels cleaner. Consistency is key with this plant. Keep the soil damp. Provide indirect light, mist occasionally. In return, you get one of the most reliable odor control plants available. And if you're finding yourself rethinking how plants fit into your home after this, take a second to subscribe. This channel focuses on solutions that work quietly and naturally, and the plants ahead might surprise you even more. Now, let's talk about a plant that combines fragrance with chemistry. Number 9, geranium. Geraniums don't just smell pleasant. They interact with odor molecules at a molecular level. Their aromatic leaves release compounds that actively neutralize strong smells rather than simply overpowering them. This makes them especially effective against kitchen odors and pet smells. Garlic, onions, wet dog, the kinds of odors that sink into fabrics and linger. Place a geranium near your kitchen or where your pets spend time, and within days you'll notice a difference. Not because the scent is overwhelming, but because the odors simply aren't as present anymore. The fragrance is subtle, slightly minty, slightly rosy, natural enough that it never feels artificial. They need good light and well-drained soil, but they're forgiving plants. And while the flowers draw attention, it's the leaves that quietly handle odor control. But if subtle fragrance works, what happens when fragrance takes center stage? Number 10 has the answer. Number 10, jasmine. Jasmine doesn't freshen a space quietly. It transforms it. When jasmine blooms, the fragrance doesn't sit politely in the background. It fills a room. Closed spaces, stale air, lingering smells from earlier in the day. None of it matters once those flowers open. But there's more happening than scent alone. Jasmine has a psychological effect. Its fragrance is associated with cleanliness, calm, and luxury. Spaces don't just smell better, they feel better. That perception matters. When a home smells fresh, people experience it differently. They linger longer. They relax more. Jasmine needs bright light and consistent care, but the payoff is dramatic. Star-shaped blooms climbing or trailing through your space, changing how the entire home is perceived. But fragrance alone isn't always enough, especially when odors are tied to mildew and bacteria. That's where number 11 comes in. Number 11, eucalyptus. Eucalyptus doesn't just smell clean. It fights what causes bad smells in the first place. Its sharp, medicinal aroma has antimicrobial properties. That means it actively works against bacteria and mold, the true source of many stubborn household odors. Basements, bathrooms, laundry areas, any space where dampness leads to mildew smells. Eucalyptus targets those odors directly. Break a leaf and the scent fills the room instantly. That intensity matters because eucalyptus scent molecules are particularly effective at overwhelming and neutralizing damp, musty odors. Indoor-safe varieties thrive with bright light and careful watering. Don't overwater. Give it room to breathe, and it becomes a natural defense against some of the hardest odors to eliminate. Now, if mildew is a problem, kitchens bring an entirely different challenge, which leads us to number 12. Number 12, rosemary. Rosemary has been solving kitchen odor problems for centuries. long before candles and sprays ever existed. That pine-like scent isn't just pleasant, it's functional. Rosemary's aromatic oils are especially effective against greasy, fatty cooking smells that cling to surfaces and air alike. There's a reason traditional Mediterranean kitchens kept rosemary nearby, brushing against it, while cooking releases fresh bursts of scent that actively neutralize odors as they form. Frying fish, cooking with strong spices, long simmering meals. Rosemary doesn't wait until the damage is done. It works in real time. It needs plenty of sunlight and well-drained soil, but in return, you get a kitchen deodorizer that actually eliminates smells instead of layering scent on top of them. And if this list is already changing how you think about your space, now's another great moment to subscribe. We're heading into plants that work even when neglected, and the impact they have is huge. Because sometimes odors don't come from cooking or pets. Sometimes they come from the structure of the home itself. Number 13, English ivy. English ivy has a hidden talent most people never realize. It absorbs airborne mold particles and formaldehyde, two of the biggest contributors to that musty, chemical smell many homes develop over time. Studies show English ivy can reduce airborne mold by up to 78% in just 12 hours. That's not cosmetic. That's transformational. This is especially important because we often become nose blind to our own homes. Visitors notice what we don't, that underlying mustiness, that chemical edge. English ivy removes the source of those smells, not just the symptoms. Bathrooms, basements, laundry rooms, anywhere moisture creates problems, this plant works continuously. Moderate light, soil that doesn't dry out completely. That's all it takes. But what if moisture itself is a problem? That leads us to number 14. Number 14, peace lily. Peace lilies thrive where odors tend to form. Humid, low-light environments. Bathrooms and laundry rooms where dampness lingers. Those broadleaves aren't just decorative. They're processing air constantly, filtering mold spores, reducing mildew, preventing odor buildup before it starts. This is why hotels and spas rely on peace lilies. They regulate humidity while purifying the air, creating spaces that always smell fresh no matter how much use they get. And peace lilies are communicators. When they need water, they droop slightly. No guesswork, no overthinking, indirect light, regular watering. And they quietly transform the most challenging spaces in your home. But sometimes, the worst odors come from places we forget about entirely. Closets, corners, small rooms with no airflow. Some of the most stubborn odors in a home don't come from obvious places. They build up slowly, in spaces we rarely think about. Closets that stay closed for weeks, corners where air barely circulates, rooms that feel forgotten. These are the smells that don't announce themselves loudly, but they linger the longest. And that's exactly where the next plants shine. Number 15, potholes. Potholes is the definition of quiet reliability. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't need perfect conditions. And that's what makes it so effective in overlooked, stuffy areas. This trailing plant thrives in low light, making it ideal for closets, hallways, corners, and small rooms that never quite feel fresh. But its real power lies in what it removes from the air. Potholes filters volatile organic compounds, VOCs, the chemicals responsible for that new furniture, new carpet, or fresh paint smell that can linger for months. Those cascading vines aren't just decorative. They're processing air constantly. In spaces where odors build due to poor circulation, potholes restores balance. Place one in a problem area and get a few weeks. The difference isn't dramatic all at once, but one day you'll realize the air no longer feels stale. It just feels normal again. Water when the soil dries out. Give it almost any level of light, and let it do what it does best. But what if the odor problem is more aggressive, chemical, sharp, persistent? That's where number 16 steps in. Number 16, aloe vera. Most people think of aloe vera as a skin remedy, but inside those thick, sculptural leaves is something even more powerful for your home: natural antimicrobial compounds. Aloe vera works against the bacteria that cause many household odors, and is especially effective at filtering formaldehyde, one of the most common sources of that sharp, chemical smell found in new furniture, flooring, and cleaning products. If a room smells vaguely new long after renovations, or just slightly off in a way you can't explain, aloe vera is likely targeting the source. It doesn't need much care. In fact, it prefers to be left alone. Bright light, infrequent watering, and it quietly purifies your air day and night. Place several aloe plants around your home, and you create a network of natural air filters that never turn off. And as a bonus, you always have fresh aloe gel on hand when you need it. Now, if dry air is making odors worse, the next plant becomes essential. Number 17, Erica Palm. We touched on this earlier, but it deserves emphasis. Dry air concentrates odors. It makes everything smell stale, dusty, almost burnt, especially during winter when heating systems run constantly. The Erica Palm is one of the most effective natural humidifiers you can bring indoors. Those long, feathered fronds are constantly releasing moisture into the air, creating an environment where odors simply don't linger. Think about how fresh the air smells after rain. That's humidity at work. Place an Erica Palm in your living room, and the entire space changes. The air feels lighter, smells cleaner, breathes better, bright, indirect light, regular watering. And during dry seasons, this plant becomes one of the most impactful additions you can make. And if you're realizing just how powerful these plants can be, take a moment to subscribe if you haven't already. You're learning how to build a home environment that works with nature, not against it. And the final plants on this list bring the strongest credentials of all, because some plants don't just help. They've been scientifically proven. Number 18, spider plant. Spider plants are champions. NASA's Clean Air study found that spider plants are exceptionally effective at removing carbon monoxide and formaldehyde from indoor air, two invisible contributors to persistent household odors. Carbon monoxide from gas appliances, formaldehyde from furniture and building materials. You don't see them, but you smell their impact. Spider plants remove these compounds at the source. One spider plant can clean the air in a 200-square-foot room, and it does it continuously. Day and night. They're resilient, forgiving, and they produce baby plants you can propagate and place throughout your home. Imagine multiple spider plants working in different rooms, creating a living filtration system that never stops. Living rooms, bedrooms, offices, anywhere you spend time. Low effort, high reward. But if you want a plant that actively fills the space with fragrance, number 19 delivers. Number 19, lavender. Lavender doesn't just smell good. It neutralizes odors. Its aromatic compounds interact with odor molecules, breaking them down rather than simply covering them up. That's why lavender has been used for centuries in homes, wardrobes, and linens. Place a lavender plant in a bedroom, and it works against musty closet smells, stale air, and everyday living odors. Rub a leaf between your fingers, and the scent fills the room instantly. Strong enough to dominate a space. Gentle enough to never feel artificial. Give it plenty of sunlight. Don't overwater. And let it become your home's natural air freshener. But if there's one plant that combines ease, power, and proven results above all others, there can only be one at the top. Number 20, snake plant. If one plant can truly transform how your home smells, it's the snake plant. NASA identified it as one of the most effective air-purifying plants available. Snake plants remove benzene, formaldehyde, trichloroethylene, xylene, and toluene, chemicals responsible for that hard-to-define bad smell many homes develop. They come from furniture, paint, cleaners, everyday materials. Snake plants remove them systematically. And unlike most plants, snake plants release oxygen at night. That means they're actively freshening your air while you sleep. They also help regulate humidity, preventing both musty dampness and dry staleness. There's a reason snake plants are used in hospitals, hotels, and offices around the world. They work. They thrive on neglect. Low light, bright light, infrequent watering. Place one in every room, and you build a natural odor elimination system that never shuts off. And that brings us to the end of the list. 20 indoor plants that don't just improve how your home looks, but fundamentally change how it smells. From kitchens to bathrooms, from basements to bedrooms, from chemical odors to pet smells. These plants don't mask problems. They solve them. Which one are you bringing home first? the scientifically proven snake plant, the fragrant lavender, or a combination working together? Let me know in the comments. And if this helped you rethink how plants can transform your space, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. More natural, practical solutions are coming, and you won't want to miss what's next.